We founded the company in 2013, and with a strong founding team. So far today, we've raised a little over $30 million in capital, most recently from Spark out of San Francisco. I think the key to our success has been, frankly, ARR growth. So we're a software as a service subscription business. We've had 59% growth quarter on quarter. Last year's growth was a little over 350%. So solid growth has been really the hallmark. We have over 280 customers, and actually as of this week, we crossed 100 employees. So we'll add about 18 to 20 employees this month alone. The whole thesis for the product came from pains that I had as a product manager at my prior company. So prior to this, I was a product manager at a company called Raleigh Software. We did big software as a service project management solutions that eventually went public and then eventually got purchased by Computer Associates. So I found my job was increasingly difficult to understand what to build, how to build it, whether people were getting value out of my product, because I had no insights in what's going on. Every time I got some piece of data, I found it was incredibly insightful to help direct all of my efforts, help know whether the things that we're building are actually valuable, if customers are actually using them, and whether that would be an early indicator of whether they're continue using, expanding, and frankly not churning. So the thesis was around how do we do this in a way that gives all these insights without actually requiring developers. So a lot of us want to do lots of things, but we ask what developers do, and a lot of these few months, and it's a huge pain. So that was the original thesis. If I fast forward today and think about what we've kind of tapped, it's the classic software's eating the world. All of the services that we're using are getting disrupted by software, and all of those software solutions have user interfaces, and a lot of those user interfaces are frankly not very good. And to the point where I was trying to buy a subway ticket in St. Louis, and I have probably a low patience threshold, but I started cursing very, very quickly. This little lady was behind me, and she helped me do it, but she knew how to use it, and I didn't. And software didn't really help me get what I wanted, which was a ticket to the train. And what's enabled us to do all these things is like three primary waves. One is, of course, big data. We collect all behavior on people's products. We're collecting over 4 billion events a week right now. Frankly, 5 years ago, it would have been impossible to do that. Software as a service is a big trend that we're leveraging, and the reason is because a lot of the things that we're buying, we want to rent things. We want subscriptions. We don't want to buy this thing and be saddled with it. But now that we're renting these things, the people providing these services have an obligation to take care of us, because every month or every year we have a choice, and we can now choose to not renew. That's changing the way most companies are thinking about their business. And lastly, agile development cycles. In the olden days, I used to ship software once every 6 months, maybe every year. Now we're shipping every single week, sometimes multiple times a day. And now we can incorporate data into our decision-making process on a weekly basis. We can ship something, test, and get data. That all contributes to making a better product experience. And the most interesting trend that we're seeing is that because of the changing workforce, millennials having a larger percentage of the knowledge worker base, the typical business users have different expectations out of their software. They expect their software at work to look and feel like their software at home, and most of it frankly doesn't. And in one of the interesting markets, and I was talking to someone earlier about it, is HR tech. And everything from how you recruit people to how you do your benefits to all of that technology is getting radically disrupted. There are companies that have been in business for 10 plus years that are getting disrupted by new entrants that honestly only have better user experiences. That is the only difference. So it's gone from being a nice to have to a must have, because it's survival for a lot of these folks. And what we've built is the first integrated platform to solve this problem. So we combine really robust analytics with qualitative feedback and personalized guidance, so we know everything that's happening inside the product. We have the ability to contextualize it with qualitative information, and then using that data, we can honestly customize the experience in the product for you. So if you're a certain type of user at a certain type of company, we can guide you to value really, really fast. At the end of the day, if you log into something and you can't figure out how to use it, you have a high likelihood of churn. First impressions are massive, and we have a platform to help do that. If I think about our key strengths, it's fully integrated. One of the, if you think about competition and how we differentiate, we typically take those 3 or 4 tools and put them into a single package. And what we're seeing is more and more people want to pick a single solution to be in their product to do this. Second, we have the ability to do very targeted messaging. When you think about targeted messaging, you think about e-commerce. I want this audience see this ad. Maybe I'm at Nordstrom's and I'm looking for shoes. If retargeting is popular, we're using that same data to make experiences better. If we know you're looking for something, if we know you're more apt to use a certain feature, we're directing you to it. It can lead to things like in-app upsells. That's a very unique feature that we can do. We can do it. A marketer can do it with our platform. You don't need a developer. It's really, really easy to do. We have really rich user and customer segmentation. We integrate with things like Salesforce and other CRM solutions. And honestly, the limited developer involvement has been one of the key aspects of our solution. You need 5 minutes of developer's time, and then from there on out, you need no extra work. And that's one of the biggest differentiators. We started off in a co-working space down the street that looked just like this. So, we started, it would be really cool to sell to startups. We're a startup. It's really hard to sell to startups. It takes just as much time and they have no money. So we switched focus pretty early and we went to the enterprise, and we have grown our ACVs, our average ACVs, significantly every single quarter since then. And we invested in things we honestly never thought we'd invest in. We were on a path to getting SOC 2 compliance. If you're not familiar with that, it's probably good you're not familiar with it, you don't want to deal with it, but it's a lot of compliance, and it's kind of painful, but you know what? It allows us to charge a lot more money. And just leave you with some of our customers. I think what we've been proud of the most is for a small company in North Carolina, have companies like AOL, where they're standard there, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Coupa recently went public, Salesforce, Henry Schein, LexisNexis, so a really wide variety of customers. And don't need money, but we're always looking for more customers and more employees. So that's all I got.
Nice job, man.
Thank you.
Before we turn the questions over to the Sharks here, I've got a question for you.
Sure.
You mentioned you need customers. You mentioned you need employees. Who's in your sweet spot right now? What's the ideal position you're hiring for, and what's the right size company for us to refer to you?
Yeah, employees, pretty much across the entire company. I think the 2 biggest departments at Pendo are the builders and the sellers. So we're always hire a great engineer and a great salesperson we're always looking for. We also have open positions in marketing, ops, pretty much the entire company. But those 2 especially, we're always hiring. I think we have 5 to 6 sales positions open. We literally just never close the developer recs, and we're on track to hire 2 to 3 a month. So
need to be located here?
Generally, yes, but we're flexible on it now. And then companies, we're looking for companies with at least kind of $5 million recurring revenue. We're looking for larger companies. Even larger would be nice, with folks with complex user experiences. I think that's our sweet spot.
Great. Thanks for answering that for me. David, I'm going to ask you to pass the mic to Todd, just to switch up the order here. We're going to keep it going. And Todd, you went last this time, so
sure.
Why don't you go first for us this time?
Well, I've been in the tech industry for a good number of years and somewhat familiar with your company. I think you're in a great space, sweet spot. You're right, a lot of user interfaces, not intuitive, it's very difficult to use. I can see a lot of existing software being replaced by newer companies that have a better, more easily understandable user interface. It makes perfect sense. Again, I hate to repeat the same question, but from a competition standpoint, you're growing, you're obviously adding companies, you're adding staff. By running conferences, I'm very familiar with how everybody's recruiting technical staff, engineers and developers, et cetera. So who else does this, or at least something comparable? Or is there, I guess, maybe any intellectual property involved in this? Or do you have IP that sort of protects you on your processes or on your software or what you actually do? Or are other people doing very much the same thing, maybe just doing it a little bit differently?
Yeah, I think, as I said, we have competition in our differentiations that we typically combine with multiple solutions into a single integrated platform, and we are unique in that. So if we compete with some, it's usually competing with a combination of solutions that people would have to kind of piece together with duct tape and other things. So, I think web analytics is a fairly, frankly, commoditized space. So we try to stay away from it, but companies like Mixpanel and Heap and even newer entrants, the old guard there is Google Analytics. I think of Google Analytics as kind of the Microsoft Excel of our space. A lot of people have it, it's free, no one really uses it, it's kind of, no one really likes it that much. So we displaced a lot of that on the analytics side. And the messaging side, there are a few other companies as well, some that are around our size and then some that are smaller. But I think where we differentiate is we've built it as an integrated platform for day one, and we're really the only one that's done it that way.
Good answer. David.
Well, congratulations on your success. I know Stephen and I are angel investors, so you're probably at B or C round kind of territory. So I'm feeling less sharkish and maybe more guppy-ish. Usually at this stage, if I'm involved, it's because we're selling the company. But I will ask you one question, and for all the benefits of the agile development methodology, I've always been curious, how do you do a release every week and maintain quality control over that release? Are your customers doing some of the QA for you when you do a release that often?
Well, no one's perfect, so I'll just start with that. I don't mean to say that we're perfect.
That's why they're hiring.
No, we have a quality engineering department, just like a lot of other companies do. I think the key to speed is automation. So investing in automation allows you to go really, really fast, and you have systems to catch things prior to going out. If we had to manually test our entire product, that would literally be impossible to go out that frequently. So I think automation is really, really key. Other things that we do, big fan of feature flags. Feature flags is the ability to ship a feature live to production, but only make it available to certain customers. So as an example, we ship all features to production and make it live to our subscription first, and we'll let it kind of be on production for us a little bit, and if there's something embarrassing or something we happen to miss through automation, then we can catch it ourselves, rectify it before anyone third party actually sees it. So those are kind of two hacks, so to speak, that I think allow us to maintain speed, and frankly, responsiveness is really, really key. And I think, even as a 100-person company, one of the things that I obsess over is making sure we don't lose the speed that got us to this place. So we won early customers by being innovative. We won early customers by responding to customers quickly. If we somehow lose that DNA because of process or other things, then we will start losing. So as a good example, we actually shipped something, and a customer noticed it on a weekend. It was actually a Sunday, and I still man a support queue every single ticket. I don't respond as much. We have a 8-person support team, but I was there on a Sunday morning, and I literally texted the CTO. I was like, "This looks really embarrassing. I want to fix now." And sure enough, Sunday, 6 engineers, boom. It got fixed in about an hour. And I think, credit to the team. The team's awesome. But maintaining that focus that, even I'm going to read the support queue, and if I think something embarrassing, it's going to get fixed. I don't care when it is. Sets the culture that we don't accept that sort of product quality. So,
good question.
I like that you mentioned early on the pain point that the clients of your customers have of trying to deal with the platform. New items are rolled out, and they have to get acclimated to how it's used and how I need to go to left now instead of right. Can you talk in the early days when you were developing your analytics in terms of noticing how your customers' clients were interacting with the website or the platform, how you were able to determine how their motions on the website could actually be turned into suggestions on making that platform better?
It was an iterative process, right? So we started collecting data, we put it out there, we started having people log in, and then we just kept iterating and talking to them, like literally every single week. What value, what decisions did you make? Finally at some point, someone started sending us board slides that had giant screenshots of our product, and then at that point, that you've kind of solved a real problem. But that probably took 8 to 9 months. And I think the key then is just being super patient. I think we told our seed investors. I told them we'd have 0 revenue, and our internal goal was, of course, to have revenue. And we ended up hitting that and exceeding the expectations. But I didn't have a lot of pressure to force something down someone's throat to get some arbitrary revenue goal when I wanted to really take my time. So it's just watching, learning, and testing. And frankly, I built the product for someone like me. So I was always its best user. And I then went to go sell it basically my peers, people like me. And, it's just, that's, I think the authenticity of understanding the pain helped drive to the right solution.